This question is from Muhammad Ibrahim PK. Is enlightenment a spontaneous process, just like awakening from sleep to the existing world? What is the difference between a normal person and an enlightened person when experiencing the world? Can an enlightened person see the past, present, and the future?
All right, 3 different questions actually. First, an interesting question. Is enlightenment is it a spontaneous process like waking up from sleep? Answer is yes and no. No, because you have to put in a lot of effort to become enlightened in general. It could happen spontaneously, but generally you have to put in a lot of effort. So in Vedanta, you have to purify the mind, you have to concentrate and focus the mind, and then you have to undergo Vedantic training, which consists of studying, listening to these Vedantic teachings, then thinking about them, and then meditating upon that. Basically attending Ask Swami sessions, lots of them. So that is sadhana. You have to develop devotion, we have to maybe get a mantra and repeat it millions of times and meditate and try to become more selfless, and all on the basis of an ongoing, continuing moral struggle to be truthful, to be self-controlled, to be selfless, to be loving. So a lot of hard work. So it's not spontaneous that way. However, it's not entirely wrong to say it's spontaneous, because at the final level, when one does become enlightened, in whichever way you see, if you're a devotee, you have the vision of your chosen deity. If you are a meditator, you have samadhi, or in the Vedantic sense, you have that breakthrough. You realize, I am Brahman. All of these, they all agree on one point. That last breakthrough was not our effort. Last breakthrough was not our effort. We did whatever we could do at our level, but the last breakthrough, that enlightenment, some would call it grace, some would call it spontaneous. It comes from somewhere else. Probably it's already coming, we are not able to catch it. And we put in the hard work, then we are able to catch it. Swami Vivekananda put it this way. All we can do is polish the mirror. All we can do is polish the mirror. He didn't explain any further. All we can do is polish the mirror. Mirror is the mind, where the enlightenment will occur. And what we can do is, we can purify the mind through ethical and selfless life, we can focus the mind through meditation, and we can tune the mind through Vedantic studies to begin to notice what is being said. But like a mirror, when you polish it, it catches the reflection very well. It catches the object very well in a clear reflection. That reflection, it comes from the object. The mirror by itself cannot develop a reflection, no matter how much you polish it. You have to have the object, which will be reflected in the mirror. Similarly, it's a very good analogy for enlightenment. We can polish the mirror, but the actual catching of the reality, it depends on the reality itself. In Advaita Vedanta, the reality is us. We ourselves are that reality. So spontaneous or not. Then the second question was, what is the difference? How does the enlightened person, ordinary person see the world?
What is the difference between a normal person and an enlightened person when experiencing the world?
I'll just change the terminology. Otherwise, it will become a normal person and abnormal person and the enlightened person. We prefer unenlightened person and enlightened person, or a seeker and the one who has found it. The difference is, it's like this. Swami Vivekananda was walking in the deserts of Rajputana, Rajasthan now, and he used to see in a distance a beautiful oasis. You know where this is going. So one day he became thirsty, and when he went close to it, he saw that it was a mirage. There was no water there. And then he started walking again. But the interesting thing happened next. When he looked back, what did he see? The oasis. Water. Beautiful water. So much water there. But now he knows that he knows that it is, there's really no water there. It just looks like that. Similarly, enlightenment, after enlightenment, you see the same world. You see the same world. However, there's a vast difference. If you have eyes, as long as you have eyes, you will see forms, colors, shapes. You have ears, you will hear sound, and so on. But your understanding of what you are seeing has changed so dramatically. Now, if I say understanding, people will think, oh, so you have understood some theory. No. It is so dramatic and so direct and so powerful that it's very honest to say that you are actually seeing in an entirely different way. I remember this one monk who I consider to be enlightened. So I was a novice. I approached him. This is nearly 30 years ago. His name was Swami Mokshadanandaji. He has passed now. I still remember clearly in his room. I was this absolute new, novice. We are talking about this question: what happens? What do you see? Where is that reality? You're talking about Brahman everywhere. So where is it? Something like that was the question. But this little bit I remember very clearly. He looked at me. So he was this short, fair man with hair like Einstein, like frizzy hair and bright eyes shining like stars. He was suffering a lot physically. He was I had to take oxygen about 10, 12 hours a day. But always, and never ever, till the end of his life, saw him without his smile and twinkling eyes. Anyway, so this was long before the end of his life. I knew him for about 7-8 years. So this was one of the first meetings, second or third meeting, I think. So I asked him this question, and he looked at me and he said, "This is it." He's pointing to the window of his room, and there was a tree outside and sunlight and the Ganges, the Ganga flowing by. "This is it." I said, "This? A window? The tree? So this is Brahman?" And then he said, rather pensively, he said, "Not quite." And then in Bengali he said, "Acha thak pore hobe, let it be, it'll happen in its own time. It'll happen." What I was seeing as a window, as a tree, as sunlight and water, he was seeing, quote unquote, as Brahman. Was he not seeing the window? He was. After all, it's like this. You look at the altar. So yes. And look at the wood here. You'll say, yeah. Are you seeing two different things? No. You're seeing the same thing. But it is true and true wood only, this altar. Every bit of it. Touch wood, so you see. So like that, so the enlightened one sees, Brahman sees, again, quote unquote. He'll see exactly what I see, what we all see, but more than that, much deeper. The mirage example, I remember Professor J. Garfield, who's an expert on Indo-Tibetan, on Buddhism, Madhyamaka Buddhism. He has a nice take on this mirage example. It's because something that's used both in Vedanta and in Buddhism. So he says that you see this mirage when you're driving along in a long road, in through a desert, like in Arizona, for example. I also have seen this, so I related to that example. And he says there are different takes on this. One is, when you see the mirage, the novice driver who's driving through for the first time, or who doesn't know what he's going to see, what will he think it is? He'll think it's water. Like Vivekananda thought it was water. Then the expert driver who has driven through this many times, he has done this many times before, and when he sees that same thing, what will he see? It's a mirage. He knows it as a mirage. And the person who has understood what a mirage is, who has read a book, who has thought it through, like us, in-between person, what will that person see? That person will see water, but will understand, oh, this is what is called a mirage. So there is the ordinary man of the world who sees this and takes this to be the real. There's nothing more to it. This is the reality. There's the enlightened one, Jivan Mukta, who sees this and says this is Brahman appearing as samsara. It's the same reality. It's existence, consciousness, bliss. And there is us in between, unfortunately. We experience just as any unenlightened person would say, but we have read a lot of Vedanta. So we will look at the world and say, oh, I see, it's a world, but actually this is what is supposed to be Brahman, with names and forms, it is the world. What are we seeing the world? Our understanding is that it is Brahman. So 3 levels. And then he adds a 4th level. There's some kind of, he said, polarized glasses. If you wear those glasses while driving, you will not see the mirage also. You will not see anything. You will not see the water, you won't see the mirage. And so he says the person in samadhi is awake, is fully alert, but not seeing the world appearance, is absorbed in the reality itself, only in samadhi state. So the mind is tuned to that. That's like wearing polarized glasses. So 4 options. One is the ordinary person who sees the mirage as water. Just water. I'm seeing water. And is fooled by it. Like Vivekananda may rush toward to drink it. And like the rest of us, we see the world as this is real and we rush towards it to drink it. That means this is the world that will satisfy me. Here I will find a lot of money which will make me rich and happy. I'll find the best relationships where people will be endlessly nice to me. I'll be the most popular person on Facebook, and so on and so forth. And always find parking. So, all of that, this is the world which will supply me with all these things which I want. This is the fool rushing towards the water. There's no water there. And we keep getting hard knocks from life. The enlightened one was Vivekananda. When he is walking away from the mirage and looks back and sees the same water, he says, it's a mirage. He will no longer rush towards to drink it. So the enlightened one sees Brahman and the world appearance as an appearance. And then there's the Samani and Samadhi. And then the Vedantic practitioner, the philosopher, the book, read a lot of books and heard many YouTube talks. He will still see the world and react to it as the world, but keep on thinking, no, Brahman. But the third part was, can this person see, all right, past, present and future. This is a general question of, do enlightened persons have special powers? Are they like Superman and Spider-Man or something like that? No, really. This was an ancient question, a big question in India and in other places of the world also, because these enlightened beings are powerful beings. They are extraordinary beings. From a Vedantic perspective, do enlightened persons possess extraordinary powers? The straight answer is no. However, enlightenment doesn't make you, in the world, as far as you are concerned, you still remain the same person. With the difference is that you see the truth. Others are walking around in a daze. That the name Buddha comes from that, the one who has awakened. That means the rest of us, we are sleepwalking. So you have awakened to the truth. But can you do extraordinary things in this world? Your behavior will be extraordinary, no doubt. You will be a saint. You will be a most remarkable person. Most remarkable person. That's no doubt. However, special powers like seeing past, present and future, or are you able to levitate or see the thoughts of other people? Enlightenment by itself does not confer you with those powers. However, the situation is complicated because there are ways of acquiring these powers, and I cannot deny that some of these powers exist. I have seen it too many times. And I don't want to call them supernatural powers. I think they are natural powers. We just don't know them as natural powers. We have so many powers. Even this, what's the most remarkable achievement in all of our lives? We have forgotten it completely. Tremendous achievement. Learning to walk on 2 legs. Remarkable achievement. Learning to read and write and speak in a language. And so many amazing, miraculous things we have learned since we were babies. And there were probably some other powers which we don't know about in general, so we consider them supernatural, and when they're manifested, we think they're extraordinary. But they are available. And so there are ways, especially in yoga and tantra, to acquire these powers. And there are many who are not enlightened who have got these powers, and many who are enlightened who have got these powers. And that's why sometimes, because to become enlightened, as I said, we have to put in a lot of groundwork, a lot of hard work. Part of that hard work is meditation. and also intense prayer. So this connection to God through prayer and meditation does awaken some of these latent powers, including, for example, seeing past, present, and future to some extent. All the time knowing past, present, and future, only God knows that, omniscient. But some yogis, definitely, they do. We cannot deny it. They do. I mean, there's so many examples that you cannot. So generally, you would expect advanced spiritual practitioners to have some of those powers. And also remember, all great masters counseled against using these powers. If the usual worldly temptations can suck us back into worldly life and prevent further progress in spiritual life, then these extraordinary powers can be even greater temptations, and they can utterly ruin a person's spiritual life. There's a story of the Buddhist monk. They used to go out for begging for food. So one day they came back to the Buddha and they were all excited and said, one of our brothers developed an extraordinary power. Show him. And that monk came forward quite proudly and he tossed his begging bowl up in the sky and it floated in the sky. So when it came down, the Buddha said, bring it to me. And he brought it, and the Buddha took the begging bowl and smashed it. And smashed it means that was a way of throwing somebody out of the monastic order and told him to leave the monastic order. So such powers are there, but everybody, especially Thakur, Swamiji and others, they all have cautioned against using these powers or chasing these powers. All right.